We are here for the October 3rd Planning Commission agenda. And before we get started, Adam, it will be standing in for the director today, and he will be opening the meeting, the rules.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning. So I'm going to read a few slides here. In compliance with notification requirements of Ohio's open meeting law and section 101.021 of the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the City Planning Department conduct their meetings in a manner modeled after Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during this meeting will be taken by voice vote. Recusals from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting has the opportunity to be heard, we ask that online participants use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you, and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the bottom of the WebEx screen. All meeting activity is being recorded via the WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed via YouTube. All requests to speak on a particular matter submitted through proper channels have been considered. We have also received emails from those who have provided written comment on a particular matter. Proper channels for comments are listed below. Communication with members of this body must follow proper channels for consideration. Any comments received by Wednesday at noon, deadline, are collected by city planning staff and disseminated to the commission members prior to any scheduled meeting. Proper channels for public comment. Sending an email to the cityplanning@clevelandohio.gov address with a comment or letter, calling and or leaving messages at the city planning main desk line. So that's 216-664-2210, or sending a letter or dropping off comments at City Hall, which is 601 Lakeside Avenue. Meetings, rules, and procedures. The chair will call each agenda item, and then each applicant will be invited to proceed through their presentation. Each presentation should be completed prior to questions and comments from the commission in order to facilitate a smooth presentation. Once the presentation is concluded, the chair will ask planning staff to summarize Design Review Advisory Committee recommendations, if applicable, and any public comments received. Public comments received through the proper channels by the deadline are distributed to commission members prior to the meeting. Staff will also identify any members of the public present and scheduled to speak. Public comment is allowed at the discretion of the chair, and any individual providing public comment is permitted 2 minutes to speak to the agenda item which they have interest. The chair will then request a recommendation from staff, if applicable. The commission will then begin deliberations and a project review. Any commission member except the chair may make a motion at any point after an agenda item has been called. All set.
Okay. We're all set. First item is to approve the minutes from the September 19th meeting. Oh, that would be really important. Sorry. So first we'll call the roll.
Anthony
Present.
Fluker is not present. Curry
Present.
McCray Scott
Present.
Sargent
Present.
present online. Perfect. And Slife.
Present.
Okay, so we have a quorum, and now the first order of business is to approve the minutes from the September 19th meeting. I was not here, so I will abstain, but I'm still present for a quorum.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting, please.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
Anthony
Yes.
Fluker Curry
Yes, or abstain.
McCray Scott
Yes.
Sargent
Abstain.
and Slife.
Yes.
Motion carries. All right, the first item is a conditional use, which is a zoning matter, which is also a public hearing. So I'm just going to read some rules for that. When we have a public hearing, first we hear a presentation from staff on the matter. Then we'll hear sponsor testimony. That could be the council person or the owner, et cetera. And then we open it up for public comment. And first we'll hear from proponents of the matter. And then we'll hear from opponent second of the matter, or anyone who has a question can ask it at that time. And we ask that you please state your name clearly if you have a comment, and that you state your name and address. If you're affected property owner, ask that you keep your comments to 2 minutes or less in this matter. So the first item is 1468 West 25th Street. And Shannon, are you going to talk to this first?
Good morning, Madam Chair. Shannon Leonard, Chief Zoning Administrator. You all will probably remember this project. It came through a couple months ago. It had also gone to landmarks. And so this is the 1468 West 25th Street where they propose to reuse the building for condos and then add the 3 townhomes along the alley. And they had originally came for the pedestrian retail overlay that's located here. It's also across from Irstown Bend. And we had asked you all to postpone ruling on the driveway over the public sidewalk. But as time went on and they went through building code review with fire wanted them to actually open this access completely off of West 25th Street. And so we worked with a fire consultant that City Planning has hired as part of their planning on call services to see if there was other ways to go about this without adding a direct access across West 25th here. And the really importance of that is because of the transit stops, but also being directly across from the park and all the investment that is going on here, and really being concerned with that pedestrian vehicle impact. And so there was a solution that we will discuss and that Denver can provide more information on. But we're back today because they technically need this driveway over the public sidewalk. So you'll remember here at 1468, it's the brick building, and there's been a fence up for many years for the driveway that already had existed. And so what we're looking at is the off-street parking on one where you will have that is within that first 40 feet and you're in the driveway across the sidewalk. So you're looking at the size, shape, and layout of the subject property does not permit the placement, loading or driveway in a more suitable location. And as you know, this is an infill lot, and it has been demonstrated to the applicant that the placement of the parking, loading, or driveway in the allowed location would jeopardize the continued occupancy of the subject property. What you'll see in the lower left corner is the proposed solution, which would be a mounted curb here with a gate. And so the idea of that is that so the fire department would have emergency access via the gate, but actual regular people would not be transversing it every day. And then having that fence there really to reduce that vehicle. And then the curb cut being mounted alludes to the public that this isn't technically a curb cut, but to the fire department, they would still be able to get in here if there was some type of fire. And so this is the fire access site plan, and Denver can walk through that if you guys are interested. And then the building with an interior side yard more than 4 feet, they'll still need that here. And that's really because of it's residential on the first floor. And if you decide that it's residential on the second floor, then they're permitted to get this conditional use. And so that's it. So they really just need the off-street parking or loading area within the first 40 feet and the driveway over the public sidewalk. And then a building with an interior side yard greater than 4 feet in width and located within 40 feet of the pedestrian frontage. I don't know if you want to hear from Denver or to discuss it.
Just a few things, I think.
I don't know if you want this.
Just a few comments. Shannon did a very good job of overviewing this. Just technically, the thing that triggers something like this is that the International Fire Code, which the fire department is taking a far more stringent look at with all new projects, has a number of clauses within it that really challenges redevelopment of existing properties or infill development. And one of the biggest ones that affected this project and required this fire access lane in the property on the north side of the building is that there is encumbrances on both 25th and 26th Those encumbrances are overhead wires. Any building over 30 feet is required to have aerial fire apparatus access that is unencumbered. And electric and low voltage wires are considered encumbrances. So as we think about continued development in the city, and you think about like there's a site for an infill townhome, and someone wants to build a 3-story infill townhome, that there's no way you're going to get a fire truck onto the property. If it has wires in front of it,
Possible,
it's impossible.
especially since there's very little underground wires in the city, across the whole city.
And most places in the city, I mean, there's parts of Cleveland Heights where power lines are down the back property lines between properties. That's not the case here in Cleveland. So there's just a little bit of context. So in this particular case, there was a solution, and the solution was originally, there was no curb cut on 25th. It was a continuous fence and pedestrian gate and continuous landscaping. In this case, by opening it up, removing 20 feet of landscaping and adding a gate and a rollover curb, we were able to meet the kind of conservative mandates of the IFC. And the reason we needed to put the 3 parking spaces in the 40 feet, because the last time we were here, this group did not give us that variance. And we had the capability of having 4 spaces beyond the 40 feet. Well, now, when we get past a certain point in this building, we have to have 26 feet of unencumbered access for that fire truck, which meant those first 2 spaces that you see, they're kind of parallel to the building. That's to create the 26 feet of clearance between a parked car and the building to the north. Otherwise, we would have had perpendicular spaces like we had before. So we lost spaces there. We needed to move them forward in the 40 feet setback. I don't know if that helps
Yeah.
in terms
No,
of
that
clarifying
definitely helps.
context and why we landed where we landed.
I have a question though. Is someone having this larger discussion with the administration and fire and, are we understanding that there might need to be some flexibility or variances from a fire perspective for projects writ large?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So that this is conversation is kind of ongoing. So Mr. Booker's project here, among several others, have encountered this same conservative approach as of late. And so there is a larger discussion, and one of those solutions was that we hired an outside fire protection consultant to kind of help balance, right, what is being requested out of a fire currently. And so there is a larger discussion on how do we approach this, and then also working across departments internally in terms of, how are we handling in the future, like infrastructure and things like that, because, this keeps coming up with the overhead wires, and Ms. Mono also can help talk about some of the solutions that we're kind of working through here.
I mean, I guess that if you mapped all the overhead wires across the city and then all the potential good info sites, there
Yep.
would be like a 98% affected rate in terms of trying to redevelop the city based on this.
That's correct.
And that ought to be surfaced in that way to say, you're either going to get a horrible product or nobody developing at all. There's only 2 outcomes.
That's right.
Oh, or you're limited to 2-story single-family homes.
Right, which is not what we.
It's
sort of like the
counterproductive.
horrible, like, not the way you want to redevelop the city. You're going to get that, right? Or, kind of that outcome, or, people are just going to go somewhere else. So anyway, that's not your issue. I think you've solved your issue here, but, so hold on a second. Let's take the public comment, and then I'd also like to hear from you about, the larger issue too.
Yeah. Mhm.
So before we take questions, is there anyone here or online, I can't see online, by the way, who would like to, who is a proponent or in favor of this project? Just raise your hand if you're online or if you're here. Anybody online? Okay. Is there anyone opposed?
Sorry, that is Aaron Larson. Aaron Larson, raise your hand.
Aaron?
Aaron, are you online?
Darren Larson?
Geez,
Oh,
was.
I'm sorry, I was just supporting the project.
Okay, thank you. Say your name again,
Aaron Larson?
Darren Larson, and you're with the your affiliation?
I'm with ownership of the project.
Okay. Is there anyone opposed to the project or has questions about the project? Okay, we'll close the public portion. Commission members, any questions or Adam or anyone?
Yeah, just some general comments. I think this is, Denver and Brian have been very creative at meeting this solution for the current fire issues. This certainly is something that the cluster needs better alignment on. This isn't the only project that you'll probably see some issues come arise with, especially with, and it's especially I think of the moment and of consideration with this brick structure, the townhouses that are wooden and in the rear. A lot of the concern is stemming from some recent fires like the University Heights Lee apartment building this past March in the winter, big stick-built building. That's where a lot of this concern is coming from. But I think we need to do a better job at recognizing and reckoning with what we are solving for, and if we're over solving for the perceived problem here. So I think there's much work for internal staff to do on that.
So, thank you. I will, first of all, just narrowly on the presentation, was going to suggest some sort of way to prevent this from being an ingress egress, but allow it to be used for safety vehicles. So thank you for anticipating that. As to the kind of what Adam was alluding to, I know if you all recall the townhome project on Warren Road, they ended up having to remove, and it's not a big deal because it's interior development, but removing the sidewalk that had as part of that project to allow for the wider width as determined by the fire marshal. So I do think that there is something, and really urging the development cluster to figure out what a path forward is on these issues. And then I think that this body needs presentation on whatever that outcome is so that we are able to anticipate to the best degree possible what fire and any other decision point could determine after a project's gone through design review. I almost think it kind of looks like mildly embarrassing for us that we're approving things that then become problematic. So if we could kind of cue that up, and then I will repeat my request based on your thing also about power lines. I still think that we need it would be great to have a map of citywide overhead power lines, because I think that also comes up with presentations and about trees, especially trees that are proposed in the public right of way that never seem to account for the fact that one, there could be overhead power lines, and two, it's the city's determination if that's an appropriate place for a tree. I think there could be, and as we promote dense development and the tree commission promotes restoration and maintenance of the canopy, I think the two bodies need to have an understanding of how our work aligns and where it might conflict so that we can work in tandem with each other instead of in conflict with each other potentially.
All right, we've been talking about everything but your project, so now
I
we'll talk
mentioned it
about your
briefly,
project a
so.
little bit, except you did a little. So do we have a motion?
I will move to approve the conditional use as presented in the pedestrian retail overlay district at 1468 West 25th.
A second.
We have a motion and a second, in comments. All I'll say is, it's a great presentation, it's a great project. Thank you for persisting, through it. I mean, our goal is to try to help people get through the process. I know this is not necessarily, kind of got to the bar, but thank you. And then thank you for surfacing the larger kind of, issues that I think we have to grapple with to make it, safe, but also possible to develop the kind of place we want to do. So thank you for advancing that larger.
You're welcome.
Call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
McCray Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant, Drew,
Yes.
Oh, okay. Drew said yes, and Slife.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. See you
Right.
soon.
Thank you very much.
The next item, I think we heard but didn't have a quorum. So Charlie, you're going to present this one. This is 2025-027 Huntington Bank Buckeye Branch mural. This is at 11623 Buckeye Road. This was recommended for final approval. Staff is supportive, and the commission voted at the previous meeting without quorum, so that's why it's back.
Correct.
Yes. Okay, yeah, thank you. Good morning, Tara Peters, Public Art Coordinator for the City of Cleveland. This mural at 11623 Buckeye Road is an installation to integrate additional public art into the Buckeye neighborhood and commissioned by Huntington Bank. These are street-facing views. The mural will be on the right there on the Huntington building. And this is just additional views from the other side of the building. The artist is a local artist, Krista Childs, who's done quite a bit of work, either as a mural assistant, and now she's got a few murals of her own under her belt. And this shows the mural dimensions on the building. This is the rendering of the artwork and how it will lay on the facade.
Just interrupting you for a second.
Yes.
Erica just realized that she should recuse herself.
Okay,
But Drew is on, so for those here, so we will have a quorum since Drew is on. So just want to note that for the record. Go ahead.
thank you. So the artist here is intending to talk about trading and youth financial literacy and entrepreneurship. So the images here are showing the children learning the art of trading in a positive way, making money through selling candy, doing yard work, selling lemonade and snacks. And then there's some pattern weaving and some playful characters throughout the artwork. And she's going to be using exterior Sherwin-Williams paints as well as spray paint, if I recall correctly. The Huntington Bank branch is going to be the steward of the mural to maintain it. Over the years, it was approved by Euclid Corridor Design Review, and they're having a mural installation and ribbon cutting celebration event for the community, which was very involved in this project. And we did receive a letter of support from Council President Griffin. This is in his ward. I also support it. I hope that it will inspire some young entrepreneurs in the neighborhood. I think it's very positive and uplifting, as well as vibrant and appropriate. And I like the fluidity of the design on the wall. Thank you.
Mission members, any questions, comments?
I think it's, Madam Chair, I think it's a great project. And I would like to make a motion if possible.
The motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Yeah, I think it's a great project. A call the roll. Oh, the motion, who made the motion?
No, just.
No, a motion to
To
approve.
approve.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. Motion to approve. Anthony recused. Curry.
Yes.
Gray Scott.
Yes.
Sergeant
Yes.
and Slife.
Yes.
Motion carries. All right, thank you. Could someone grab Erica? Next item is Euclid Corridor, design review. This is at 2025-018-8114 Euclid Avenue, new Chipotle restaurant.
Oh, we're gonna go.
We skipped one? Oh, we skipped a demolition. You're right, correct. I'm a little off today. I'm usually better than this, so I apologize. I'm just kidding. So the next one is a demolition. This is at 8114 Euclid Avenue. in Fairfax.
Sorry, Chair, it's 9014 Cedar Ave. On page 5.
Oh, I'm on page 6. No
Yep.
wonder I missed all of it. I'm a whole page later. Sorry. Okay, let's start over. This is another demolition, 9014 Cedar Avenue. And this went to the Euclid corridor for final approval on 10-2. There were a couple of conditions to document the history, and include details of the historical elements, which will be preserved and added to the new building. So, staff is in support with these conditions. So if you don't mind, if, I'll swear you in first and then, you can present first. So do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth as you shall answer to the penalty of perjury?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Can we please unmute our microphones, making the button green? Perfect, thank you.
You have the right page now.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity to present to you our application for the demolition. I'm Brian Bauer. I have with me here Jim Dorshik, another architect for the project, and Kay Etta. She is the actual administrator at the facility. Just a little bit of history about the company that we're dealing with here. Cedar Health Realty LLC is the local entity that will operate this facility. It's a smaller part of the Foundation's Health Solutions company. They own about 60 nursing homes across the state of Ohio, only working in Ohio, and are very experienced in the nursing home industry. The current facility that they operate, which is the 1995 building on the property, has 98 residents in it. It's primarily semi-private occupancy. The Cedar Health Realty bought the building in 2024 and has since invested $4 million in renovating the existing facility. Had a very successful open house here recently and has just begun a second project where we are going to construct a $600,000 in-house dialysis facility for the residents of the facility. We are requesting approval to demolish a building constructed in 1891 on the property. The building is entirely vacated at this point. The only thing that remained in the building when we purchased the property was the laundry in the basement, and that has been moved into the 1995 building under the original demolition or renovation project. There are no utility services to the building, and the building has, for the most part, been unoccupied for several years. In our proposal of the demolition of the building, there are certain architectural elements that we plan to retain, so they will be salvaged prior to demolition of the facility, and then they will be used in conjunction with the new planned addition at the site. Just for context, the property is located on Cedar Avenue between 90th and 93rd Street, immediately across the street from the Cleveland Clinic Emergency Department. The property is made up of multiple parcels of ground. The building on the far left-hand side is the 1995 building. The orange building adjacent to it is the 1891 existing building. And then the smaller orange piece property or structure down to the lower left-hand side there, it was a private residence. Cedar Health Realty, since this was done, has purchased that property and raised that building. It was a single-family home So that property now is a vacant site. The corner property up at Cedar Avenue and 93rd in the upper right-hand corner of the property is currently a part or owned by the Cleveland Land Bank. But we have negotiated an agreement that is conditional upon us being able to do this proposed addition that we want to do on the property, whereby we will purchase that property from the city of Cleveland. As far as the building history goes, Charles Schweinfurth was the architect for the building back in 1891. It was designed and constructed as the Infants Rest and Inner City Nursing Home, primarily for disabled children. It has had multiple occupancies since that time. Holy Cross, a couple of churches, the Mount Zion Church, the New Sardis Church. The New Sardis Church in the 1950s did an addition to the building at the rear of the building. Actually, probably is about twice the size of the building, or 1.5 times the size of the original building. They vacated the building, and Ethel Pyle and Melvin Payne bought the property in 1971. It was a failing nursing home at the time, and Ethel's vision was to develop it and make it a facility that provided a higher quality level of care, affordable care, and accessible care for the residents of the Fairfax community and the inner city. In 1995, they continued that vision in terms of the construction of the 1995 building that essentially replaced their occupancy of the 1891 structure. It had lived out its usefulness in terms of them being able to offer the type of care that they wanted to offer at this site and for the community. After the opening of the 1995 structure, Melvin Pyle Jr. Had plans to do an addition, just like we are proposing with our project, to continue to expand those care offerings to the Fairfield or Fairfax community. And that's the vision that I guess we are carrying forward here in our plans for the facility since we bought it, is to expand that care and bring it up to today's standards in terms of what's expected in nursing home care and what is being built out in the suburbs in terms of private rooms versus the semi-private occupancies. The building in terms of its history and historic nature really is that Charles Schweinfurth was the architect, and he's a notable architect around the city of Cleveland. But even in the meetings we've attended, it's been recognized it's not really one of his better works, but even at that, it is knowledge and it is recognized that he was the architect. But with the multiple occupancies that or tenants that have occupied the building over the years, really it's not so much the building itself as what is going on in the building and the vision that they had for the building. Most of them, the churches, they used it to grow, to start and to grow their congregation, and then they moved out of the facility because they needed more space or a better location. The same thing can be said for Ethel Pye and Melvin's use of the building and what they were trying to do with their vision to expand that care for the residents of the community and the offerings that could be made to the local inner city community. The building condition is, as I said, there's no utilities connected to it. It has been unoccupied for several years. Actually, it was being used by, I think, some homeless folks living in the rear of it for a while. We did a mold study for the building, which determined that there was significant mold growth in the building as a result of the water infiltration that has been going on for years. From an accessibility standpoint, the first floor is about 3 feet above grade, so you have to, in order to enter the building, have to go up steps, which does not make it conducive for handicap accessibility, elderly. The interior corridors do not meet requirements in terms of use as an I2 nursing home occupancy. They're only about 4 to 5 feet wide. Current codes require that they are 8 feet wide. From a fire protection standpoint and building code application, in an I2 use group in a wood frame structure as this building is, code does not permit anything above a single story occupancy. This building is a 2-story occupancy with a basement. So it could not be used for the nursing home occupancy that we are proposing for the site. And lastly, the building location, where it is located, and us trying to meet the zoning requirements with respect to green space along Cedar Avenue and 93rd Street, and then accommodate all of the parking we need to accommodate on the site, limits our ability to develop the addition and the number of beds that we're trying to create on the property. Again, what we're intending on doing is selectively demoing certain parts of the building as we salvage those items, but the project will result in a full demolition of the building, including the basement. It will be excavated out and it will be brought in, backfill will be brought in to bring that up to grade to be used for our base for the new building. Again, the appropriateness of the reuse, I mean, we are not changing the use of the property as it currently stands. It will be a nursing home use. It will be an expansion that's going to create private rooms, depopulate the semi-private rooms and turn those into private rooms. So we'll end up with about 82 private rooms in the facility. We'll be adding 43 total rooms, but the net gain is 39 rooms. The plan would be that the new addition would be contextually and stylistically similar to the character of that original 1891 building, to essentially begin to kind of recognize that it was there. But we just cannot use the existing building in the type of care that we want to provide. We've done a lot of research. Our attorneys have done a lot of research in terms of the historic aspect of the property. Kay has done an immense amount of research in working with the Fairfax Renaissance Development Corporation, as well as talking to residents. And I'd like to have her kind of speak to that a little bit here too.
Okay, I think we understand. I mean, you can just show us the building
You wanna
while
see the
she's
building? All right.
talking, and we're good with the presentation, but you can go ahead.
Kim?
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. So my name is Kay Etta, and I am the nursing home administrator at the Gardens of Fairfax. And I just wanted to speak a little bit to what I have learned as in the past year, going out, speaking with community members, speaking with the Fairfax seniors and the seniors in the greater area about what their care needs are and how they're currently being taken care of. Currently, if a senior in our community is looking to get the high quality care offering of a private room, they are being sent 20 to 40 minutes away into the suburbs by the case managers or by other recommendation to receive that care. That is preventing posing a big barrier to their families to come and visit them. That's that also creates isolation where no one can, where they're in unfamiliar areas and no one is able to see them easily. And what we are, where we're positioning ourselves, or what we're allowing, where the Gardens of Fairfax is doing, is making sure that the Fairfax residents and the residents in the greater area have access to high quality care in what is now the industry kind of best practice or standard, is to have privacy in private rooms. Currently, we have 6 private rooms, and after the finish of this project, as Brian has said, we're looking at 82. And that is what the community is looking for. There's another nursing facility, smaller nursing home in our Fairfax area that does offer what we would say is high quality care, but it's a very small facility, and to have access to that facility, you need to have a certain level of means to be able to enter into there. Currently, with our residents, we are 95% of our residents are Medicaid recipients. We assist residents and families with getting Medicaid, and that is who we are looking to serve, and continuing on with the legacy of Ethel and Melvin Pye. We want to make sure that we honor the history of the old building on the property, but we also want to make sure that the current Fairfax residents have access to this high quality care right at home. Councilman Griffin at our open house had said that the Gardens of Fairfax is going to be where Fairfax seniors can age in place, and that is exactly what we are seeking and looking to do. So they just wanted to give that additional insight as you look to learn more about the project. And again, we are offering high acuity care that again, these residents, if they want to get that high acuity, high quality care, are having to travel 20 to 40 minutes away. And that could be offered right there in the community. I think the last thing that I wanted to mention is that one of the things that the rumblings that I've heard from the community members as I've talked to them is that there has been a history of Fairfax community members not having access to the health care that is in their area. And so we want to, again, make sure that where we're located, all the community members, regardless of income, are able to receive that quality care. Thank you.
Thank you. Commission members, any questions or comments? I will say, I think this is phenomenal from the perspective of the investment that you're making here. Really thinking about what the residents need. I think that the design of the future state and also how it holds the corner, I think is wonderful. I think it's incredible that you're making this investment and there will be this high quality care. And I hear this all the time about residents wanting to be able to age in place in the neighborhoods and have these options. So thank you for the hard work. And I know it's not easy to demolish a building, but sometimes it's required. So any other thoughts?
Madam Chair, I am familiar with that nursing home. And I think it's a great idea that you all are coming into the community and making these changes. It's really very much needed. I applaud you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Just of information, will the redevelopment project then be coming through design review, or is this, okay, so this is just step one?
It's demolition only right now
Okay.
with a look to kind of the future of what you will be seeing as a more finalized version.
Okay. I mean, just staff, is that sufficient for conceptual review?
No, we the Euclid corridor committee just looked at the demo as well.
Okay.
They provided those renderings in context, I think, for the future.
It was in an effort to show what we want this to be, to kind of move the demolition forward and just show what will be coming. So we know that we still have a lot of work to do with the commission there and with you as well. So.
Okay. Thank you. I'll move approval of the demolition then.
And I second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
McCray Scott,
Yes.
Sergeant, I think he might have left
I
for the
think he's
day, so
out.
never mind, not present and Slate.
Yes.
Motion carries. And thank you. Thanks for all the amazing work that you do at the facility.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you
all.
very
We'll
much.
see
Thank
you
you.
soon.
Appreciate it. Yes.
Hopefully soon on the other end of this. So
Absolutely. Looking
thank
forward to
you.
it. Thank you.
It's gonna be great. We also have one additional demolition at 8114 Euclid Avenue. This is was approved for final approval on 10-2 at local with condition to keep the site in good condition until the new building is constructed. Are you Jonathan? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, as you shall answer to the penalty of perjury? And hit the button, it'll be on green. They'll have your slides up there. And thank you very much.
Okay.
Good morning.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
My name's Jonathan Evans with Evans Engineering, and we're here on behalf of the client Rochman Enterprises. They're looking to redevelop this property at 8114 Euclid Avenue. And the pictures on the screen are the current condition of this building. We're looking to raise the building and in the future, well, it'd be next on the agenda here, but construct a Chipotle Mexican grill. We've been through the design review committee with the Euclid corridor and also with PetBot. So we've been through these stages here, and we're just asking for your permission this morning to have permission to tear this building down and do a redevelopment.
Yeah, I think we have the demo slides first and then your
You want to
presentation.
do both
for
of them at the
for
same
new
time, or?
Chipotle
I'm
next.
Fine with how.
Oh, we might
Up
as
to
well,
you.
so you don't have to
Yeah.
wait.
Okay.
Yeah.
If we do it all at once, we can do
Sounds great.
the demolition.
Okay. Great.
What page is the,
Well,
it-
you were perfectly on the demo part, but maybe if you just went to the first
oh,
slide.
there it is. So it's the Chipotle restaurant.
Yes.
So we'll need two separate motions, but,
Right.
you can see it then on page 7.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, do both.
Great. Yeah, perfect. So it shows an aerial, but this is on the south side of Euclid Avenue. It's in between 81st and 82nd Street. Where the building is situated right in the middle there, it's exactly where the current restaurant is that'll be torn down. So we're tearing it down and rebuilding, almost identical space. We're looking to have a common curb cut up in the front, right in the middle of the site. And it, again, serves as Chipotle Mexican Grill. We will have a connection that'll go over to 81st Avenue on the west. And yes, this is the site plan, how it kind of operates, with the parking spaces that are shown and the circulation here. If you go maybe, these black boxes are weird.
No, what are those?
I don't know, something with Adobe, I suspect. Yeah, that's strange.
They're like comment boxes.
Yeah, that's okay. That's unfortunate, but that's okay. Maybe the site plan's pretty self-explanatory. Maybe let's try to go to the building renderings or the couple more pages down potentially.
You don't own the whole block though, so the parcel
Okay,
to the
sorry.
left is not part of
I'm
it.
sorry. So the part to the left is under the developer's control also.
Oh, it is.
And it would most likely be a future commercial type building. We just have no tenant or nothing
Huh.
planned there yet. On the east there, where you can see like almost an L-shaped or a
Yeah.
hook there, that is parking that's used by the church that's east of there. I think it's called Liberty Hill Baptist.
Right.
And it does not connect to this lot. It's entirely separated. There's no driveways cutting through, or there's fence kind of
Got it.
keeping the two separate. But what's shown here on the screen would be the redevelopment of Chipotle. Likely on the corner there, the northwest corner, will be a future development at some point. There, it's an active corridor, and they believe someone would like to come along here and, build something new as well.
Yeah.
So, but it's not a part of this discussion today. It's a vacant lot right now. It's grass.
Okay.
This is a landscape plan that we had presented, shows kind of the materials, the trees that would be along the frontage and the screening that we would do in certain areas. The front, there's a patio in the front of the building, screening of, say, a transformer and a dumpster surrounded in the back there. So, and then the bottom two images there showed the patio railing and showed a bike rack that would be installed with the development. So, okay, and then on the screen here is kind of the architectural images of what the building would look like. The top one's the front facade of the building with, your storefront, the double door, that's the main entrance into the building and out of the building. The one below that is the secondary entrance would be on the non-pickup window side. And then if you go to the next slide there, thank you. The top one's the rear of the building, and then the bottom one here is the pickup window facade. And it Chipotle does this now with all their stores. They have this pickup window option. So if you order your meal online, you just drive up, you say, hello, I'm Jonathan, and they say, here you go. So there's no menu board, there's no outside transaction. It's just purely a pickup window after you've paid for it. So, yeah, these slides show the rendering. This is just a floor plan of the building. These are a couple photos that help show what the building will look like, most likely.
Chipotle designs.
Pardon me?
Are these new?
This is total new
Very new
design. Yeah, they
design.
call it their
Interesting.
habanero concept, but
Interesting.
yeah, that's
Oh, yeah.
this.
Back to the rendering.
So
The front facade,
this is the pickup on the side, and that's
the
um,
rendering. They're interesting. Yeah.
yeah. So a lot of glass is storefront on the facades there, then the brick on the pickup window side.
Where what's the habaneros,
It doesn't say habanero anyway. It's just
Just
where they call this
this design.
concept, I guess.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, okay.
we but
Right.
overall, we
What
think
was
it's a
the
wonderful
restaurant that
development for
used
the
to be
area.
on there? What
It was a Vietnamese restaurant most recently.
I
But
know.
it's out of business. I
Yeah, it's
think
been
my
for a long
client told
time.
me that I think the building's been condemned, so
For a while.
so it's ready to be torn down. And one of the conditions with the thing, we're looking to get approval to tear it down, and they will maintain the property until then, but we would most likely go in immediately for permits and look to start construction as soon as we could, probably, as soon as the weather breaks, or, late winter, early spring.
Okay.
Right.
But
Well,
demo potentially would happen sooner than that.
Let's take questions on both, but then we'll need to do two separate motions. Any thoughts or questions?
I have no issues with the demolition. That's been an eyesore for a long time. Could you go back and kind of give more details though of the landscaping and kind of along Euclid? And obviously this is in an ideal world. I have to be honest, it wouldn't be a drive-through in the middle of Midtown, but I recognize we're demolishing the drive-through, but it's essentially replacing what it is. So I don't know if I'm gonna lose my mind over it, but I want to be clear of how this kind of promotes the larger walkability. And I would like for people from the clinic to feel like they can walk down the street and get a burrito instead of driving through a drive-through and ordering a burrito, which is chaotic, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely different than a traditional drive-through, first of all. It's not where you pull up and you decide what you want to eat, or they're not getting transient traffic that just happens to be driving by. Because you can't pull up and say, hey, I want to order a burrito. You have to, if you haven't ordered it before then, you have to pull in and make conscious effort to walk in and order it and sit down and eat or leave. So that's definitely the way the restaurant operates. Of particular note here, I'm going to touch on the landscaping or perhaps the walkability of it. If you don't mind going back a couple slides to the existing conditions, and again, sorry, some of it's hard to read, but back maybe 2 or 3 more, please. And I don't know if it'd even show up on the other one, but this one here, that one was a good one. Sorry. Well, even may I get up to the aerial shows it best. There are 3 curb cuts here now. There's one here, one here, there's one here. So with that, we're looking at demo 2 of the 3 and make it just one curb cut, which will serve the restaurant plus the future potential lot there on the northwest corner. So the walkability of at least cars and that conflict with any pedestrians coming along the frontage there, that definitely gets cleaned up. So, but further to that, there are street trees there. We're not damaging or planning to cut down any street trees that are there, and we're looking to augment those with additional trees and landscaping that's there. And then the other thing of significant note, I think, if we go back to the demo photos potentially, please. I think it's on page 19. Oh, that was a good one right there. This sign that's there, not this one back. Sorry, the monument sign that's out front. will be removed with this as well. So we're taking down a rather large sign and going back in, likely with the monument style sign that would be much lower to the ground. So one of those photos showed it pretty clearly. Sorry, but I can't. So, but I think an enhanced landscape, plus there will be a patio where people do, in fact, eat. I mean, on weather like today or beautiful days, you know, people routinely sit outside. So I think it's definitely going to provide that type of an option for people in the neighborhood.
Madam Chair, to the presenter, I'm familiar with the Chipotle on Cedar Hill. They have the drive-through window and it works really well.
It does. They've been doing these for a few years and it works very well. You rarely see people backed up more than one or two cars, but it flows very well. You know, if you pull up and your order's not ready, they just ask you to pull up to a parking space that's dedicated for that, and you get your order very, very quickly. So it's not a real, like a other traditional fast food restaurant.
I will move approval of the demolition at 8114 Euclid.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. I'll call the roll.
Anthony?
Yes.
Curry?
Yes,
McCray Scott?
Yes.
And Slife?
Yes.
motion carried.
And then I will also move approval of the new project as presented, incorporating the design review consideration about the dumpster enclosure for the new restaurant.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
Anthony?
Yes.
Curry?
Yes,
McCray Scott?
Yes.
And Slife?
Yes.
motion carried.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. So the next is Euclid Quarter Buckeye, African Town Retail 2025-032. This is on Cedar between 77th and 78th. Did we see this before?
We almost did, and they decided to come back this week.
Okay, so that's what I thought. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, but and nothing but the truth as you shall answer to the penalty of perjury?
I do.
Okay, this is here for conceptual approval. And there are a few comments and conditions from local on our sheets, but we're excited to see it. So welcome.
Okay, so this project kind of goes along with the project that was across the street from it. That there's an aerial photo that kind of shows how they tie together. There we go. James Sosin is a developer and he's redeveloped the old YMCA building on Cedar, turned it into a multi-use building with offices on one level, apartments above, and an event center. And kind of has the African theme to it with the cooking and the events that they're doing. Across the street is a property that's had community gardens on it now. They relocated the gardens, and so that property is available for them. And this is going to be sort of an extension of the same theme of the community, African community availability. This building, now if you go to the elevation, well, this is the property as it stands now. The is a combination of retail, kind of community service, and little offices. They're each individual units. You can rent one or more of them together and tie them together. But then there's a common, restroom area and community area that's in the center of the building. If you go to the site plan, that's the YMCA building that was developed across the street that's under construction now. So in the new building, it's straight across from the other event center. So the sidewalks tie in, and so it's really works for the community to bring the people in. There's a pad out front for a food truck that actually would work in conjunction with the kitchen in the event center across the street. And then in the center of the building, there are big openings where there's kind of a community gathering area. So that the people who either have retail can either bring out goods to kind of display them and attract people in. Or if they're selling food or bakery and things like that, there'd be tables and some things in there that people could, participate and use it as a community space. So from the outside, you can get into all the first floor units. They have doors and glass to the outside. For the second story, you would walk through the community area, go up the stairs, and there'd be a center corridor that feeds the upper units. The parking goes around the building. We preserve quite a bit of green space around the building so that, because it's, they had a lot of trees and things on the lot now, the landscape plan would be replacing a lot of the trees along the street line. And maybe the three-dimensional one is kind of at the end, I think. These are the elevations of the building. And the individual tenant spaces that people can rent. These are the materials of the building, kind of based on the brick and limestone from the building across the street. So each of the units in our kind, you can see the individual units as they're kind of staggered in and out there. But with big glass so that they can, if it's a retail type space, kind of display what they have to offer. So that's the overall view of it. If you have any questions.
Yeah, the Euclid Corridor saw this yesterday. I think the update, right? They've seen it once before, but they saw the slight update yesterday.
Yeah.
I think a lot of comments were towards the circulation between the two projects across Cedar and how that relates. I think you explained a little bit about the site plan and how the sidewalks and circulation are connected with the food truck spacing as well. I think they spent a lot of time on that, as well as like the exterior materials and some comments on adding windows to the east and west sides. But overall, this is for conceptual approval. We're supportive of this development. Kim is very supportive of the development and thinks that it will be pretty catalytic in nature for this little block of Cedar, and recommends moving forward with it.
Thank you.
I think I'll just say, I think it's a great project. One thing, I said this is conceptual, so just kind of moving forward, I want to just say I'm not an architect, so I kind of don't know what I'm talking about, and I don't have the vocabulary to even fully form an idea on this. But I would love for, if not through architectural elements, if it comes down to like public art or something that gives it a more definitive like African flavor. Like it's a nice looking building, but I'd love if that it seems that the purpose is kind of African and specific services. It'd be cool if that were kind of apparent to people coming by and how we can kind of lean into that in various ways. So I don't know what I'm suggesting as much as I'm just kind of thinking out loud.
I can tell you what we have in mind. So the common area is going to display all kind of African artifacts in the common area. Then some of the space, originally I'm from Africa, from Nigeria. So we're going to have an area in the building that's dedicated to my group, the Nigerians in Cleveland area. So they can hold their meetings there. They will have an office there. And that's just for Nigeria. Then Ghana is trying to do the same thing. So it's going to be like an embassy kind of in Cleveland, that if you're coming from Ghana for the first time and you need to connect with people that are already here, you go to the office there and they will, help you out how to settle down in Cleveland and that. And across the street, we're going to have a small museum, and it's a rotating museum where each country can display their artifacts maybe for a month. Then they will move it. Then another one will So all that will tie together from across the street.
I think what he's saying is that, is there some things when you come back that you could do on the exterior that would make it really apparent, like, for example, you know.
Bringing some of that
Like,
outside, yeah,
bringing some
not
outside-
literally like
literally,
a
but
artifact,
like,
but
let's say like the awnings, you decide to do awnings and you think about different flags of different countries or whatever it might be, that the outside express the inside.
Trust me, we're gonna display some artwork outside, some
Right.
carvings that will immediately when you see it, you will know there's something from Africa.
Okay.
in that display.
Okay.
It's a big strong point of Centrovia, I feel like.
Like Centrovia, the color of the
Yeah,
building.
yeah, it's very
you've seen
distinguished.
Centrovia on West
Yeah.
25th Street.
We try to tie the two together.
Yeah.
That's why we're using the brick at the base. And then above, we kind of make it industrial and contemporary look. Brings fresh idea to the area because the area is down right now. So we try to clean up the area and bring new. And the building itself is going to be an incubator for small businesses. The units are very small. And I'm going to get a lot of public funding so we can reduce the rent for new business just starting out. I'm estimating rents to be between $500 to $1,000 a month for about 600 square feet space, which is very, very good.
We have a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the African Town retail on Cedar Avenue between East 77th and East 78th Street.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
Approve no conditions?
With the conditions as recommended by the Euclid Corridor Buckeye Design Review.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
McCray Scott,
Yes.
and Slide.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Can't wait to see you back.
Thank you.
Ajuman.
What's that?
So we share a mutual friend, Crystal Bryant Ajuman.
Really? Okay.
Heard that? Okay. All right, we have 4 mandatory referrals to landmarks and 2 others. So the first one is on page 9, designating former fire department engine company number 26 Station House as a Cleveland landmark. Good morning. How are you?
Lovely. How are you? Carl Brunges, Landmark staff. Let's see, here we go. All right. Here for the nomination of the former Cleveland Fire Department engine company number 26. This was nominated by the Landmarks Commission in 2021. It was first brought to our attention by the firefighters of the station because they love this building so much. And this is about the time in 2019 when the new station was being originally announced. So a little bit of a timeline. The property is located at formerly Kinsman Street and East Madison Avenue, which is now East 79th Street, and that was sold to the city in 1883. So we've owned this property for a long time. We tried to build a fire station a little bit closer to East 93rd Street originally, but then that got held off. And then they decided that they needed it in the location that it is today in 1896. The original plan was not approved. They then went to do a little bit more. They said, we need to advertise this now. And then the first proposals were rejected because the cost came in too high. So they wanted to do this again. So it took a little bit of time to get this built out here. And as you can see, the city grew up around this area as well. So we have a lot more buildings here. So you needed fire protection out here and the school across the street. Contracts were all awarded in 1897. The Fire Department Museum has a great archive of information on all the stations in the city. So it was nice to get this information. So the building was dedicated on March 8th, 1898. Beautiful building, nice bell tower. And we have all of the original members of the fire station that were listed. There was great mentions in the Plain Dealer and a big opening day. The architect, William Ruggles Watterson, raised here in Cleveland, came back after his studying at Columbia to work for George B. Post, a noted architect here and in New York. He practiced on his own and with a partner. And then one of his most significant buildings here in Cleveland is here on St. Clair and East 55th.
That's a great building.
No, we need a savior for that one.
Yes. One of the descendants of the original firefighters, or an early firefighter, had some family photographs here with the old gun apparatus. So these were probably dated to the early 1900s, prior to 1915, I think, is when they switched over to actual fire trucks versus than horse-drawn carriages. And that's some of the earliest ones. A portion of the original land purchase was exchanged, so they extended a little bit. In the late 1930s, all the alarm bells were removed from all the stations. There's one example here. They were using the metal from the bells for the war effort. And then in 1939, the alteration lowering the bell tower to its current. Of course, we have all the nice blueprints. We have the floor plans. And then photo from 1940 showing it just after alterations. By 1975, the doors had been replaced, some of the windows bricked in, although maintains its integrity. Again, site visit in 2020, so this has been sitting around for a little bit because, as we know, the world ended a couple of months later. You see the housing next door actually drew some of its inspiration from the firehouse and the color choices, and just speaking about color choices, and you can see how that affects. Maintains its integrity, has much of its original except for the doors. That tour inside. All the original wood is inside.
That's so cool.
And we are hoping for a nice reuse of this property in the future. The owner is still the city of Cleveland. They have signed off on this one. Get through these. The firefighters refer to this as the Bat Cave. So it is. So they were very happy to get this project started, and just last month, the new Station 26 opened up. So they have now moved out, and I believe it is being used as a community. The old one's being used as a community center temporarily until a final decision as to what its purpose will be. And looking forward to the future of this building. Thank you.
Page 9, designating the former Fire Engine Company 26 Station House as a landmark.
So when you're the councilman in Ward 17, you know a couple firefighters. I will say I've gotten a number of people reaching out who were stationed here, and just the love for this building is very immense, and they've spent a lot of I'm speaking about the firefighters specifically, and this is true across really, I think, like what facilities. We have a lot of city workers putting in their own time and energy and money to maintain things. And this is certainly the case. So I want to kind of acknowledge the love that's been given to this building. To Carl's point about the reuse, City Council did pass legislation over the summer that allows the Vanguards of Cleveland to use it as sort of a community center recruitment space. If you're not familiar with the Vanguards, it's a organization for Black firefighters, and there's been a real effort for them and the city in partnership to make sure that we are very proactively engaging with aspects of our community to make sure that we are offering this up as an opportunity for employment. So I think that this location and that use is very fitting, and I'm optimistic. I think that it's a large undertaking. This is obviously a very historic building. There's a lot of upkeep. So I think it's something that we need to make sure that we are providing assistance with throughout the duration of that relationship. But I'm excited that the building is not just going to sit and be vacant, and that there's a real opportunity for people to come in, see the building, experience it, maybe consider becoming a firefighter, maybe slide down the pole. So that's what Denise wants to do. She was telling me. Yeah. So
I'd like to make a motion, Madam Chair.
So moved.
I'll second.
Seconded. Call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
McCray Scott.
Yes.
And Slide.
yes.
Motion carries. There's the second one. It's not you, correct? Additional is ordinance number 1084-2025, designating the Tamir Rice Butterfly Memorial as a Cleveland landmark.
Yeah, or whatever. We try to sit next to this, right? Sorry.
Morning.
Morning.
Dan Musson, Secretary, Cleveland Landmarks. We are here for the nomination of the Tamir Rice Butterfly Memorial. Samira Rice, Miss Nikki Hudson, and Mr. Fidel Swain.
Yes.
Here to make the presentation. I did just want to note that Councilwoman Spencer enthusiastically supports the nomination. And this is located in an area that's already has landmarks protection as part of the Clifton West Boulevard Historic District. So with that, I'll pass it over to you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Good morning again. I'm Samaria Rice, the founder and CEO of the Tamir Rice Foundation, also the mother of Tamir Rice. So yes, thank you for having us here today and possibly taking this in consideration. Situated in 11-acre Cadell Park, this 1/4 acre memorial commemorates Tamir Rice, a 12-year-old African-American boy who was shot and killed by Cleveland police in 2014 while playing in the park. After his death, the community created an impromptu memorial at the park gazebo, where this was replaced in 2015 by the original butterfly garden designed by Molly Nagin, who was the vice president of the Tamir Rice Foundation at the time. It was a labor of love intended to help the community heal and move forward after the tragic event. Now, I'll pass it on to Nikki.
In 2022, under the direction of Tamir's mother, Samaria Rice, the memorial was renovated and expanded into a butterfly-shaped memorial designed by landscape architect Diane Jones Allen of Design Jones LLC with local firm DeRue Landscape Architects. More than 250 people attended the ribbon-cutting ceremony, including 10 families of police murder from throughout the state and country, U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown and his wife and journalist Connie Schultz, Ohio State Senator Nikki Antonio, and Cleveland City Councilwoman Jenny Spencer. The memorial features planting beds, curvilinear paths composed of brick pavers, resin, and marble, and 2 plaques installed flush with the ground plane. One panel, made of polished black granite, features an engraved portrait of Tamir. The other panel is dedicated to Tamir's sister, Tajay Rice, who at the age of 14 tried to come to her brother's aid and was tackled and improperly detained by Cleveland police. The brick path is interspersed with butterfly mosaics crafted by local artist Angelica Pozzo. Simply designed black stone benches edge the memorial, allowing visitors a place to sit and contemplate the commemorative space. The memorial is located in Cadell Park, which has been part of the Clifton and West Boulevard Historic District since 2000. Originally called the West Boulevard Allotment Subdivision, it was a carefully planned neighborhood within Cleveland's Parks and Boulevard system, an ambitious idea to connect Cleveland parks with wide boulevards and parkways. Cadell Commons Park was donated to the city in 1906 by renowned Cleveland architect Frank E. Cadell, who is also the namesake for the Cadell neighborhood. After his death, a clock tower in his honor was constructed by his widow and still stands in the park today, just a few hundred feet from the Rice Butterfly Memorial.
The shooting death of 12-year-old Tamir Rice in 2014 brought increased attention to the national debate on interactions between police officers and African Americans. Several hundred protests gathered in downtown Cleveland on November 25th, 2014, and multiple occasions since. In response to both Rice killing and the lack of justice for those responsible. Tamir was a beloved member of Cadell neighborhood. He attended Marion C. Seltzer Elementary School, took classes at Cadell Fine Arts Center, and was known at Cadell Recreation Center, where he would often spend time playing basketball and other sports with his friends. His death took shockwaves through the community, and the Rice Butterfly Memorial became a scarce space for people to come and reflect on his life and try to find answers and peace to move forward. So, thank you. Thank you. And I have Mr. Fidel Swain here, and even when I didn't know it, he was taking care of the garden, and he's here to talk a little bit about what he has done and what he's going to continue to do for the foundation in the garden. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. I'm very excited to be here, very excited to be part of Tamir Rice's foundation. As she mentioned, I've been maintaining, even the old garden, I've been maintaining the gardens for about 6 years now, I think. And I make sure it's maintained very well, clean, wipe everything down, just service it. So again, I've seen many people come through there. We talk about different issues in the community, the history of what happened with Tamir. There's an elementary school right behind there. So I get to talk with the kids when they come out for recess or breaks, because I'm kind of always there. Again, I maintain it throughout the year, summer, winter months, make sure that the walkway is clear of the snow, fall, make sure the leaves are gone, and just think it's my privilege to do that. I wear many hats. I'm in the community doing a lot of things, but this is like when I talk to the people I'm around, my circle, we talk about giving back. This is my way of giving back. So again, I'm very excited. The community will be totally excited if this is designated a historical area, a historical space. So again, I thank you for letting me speak this morning, and thank you, Ms. Rice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commission members, questions, comments?
Just a brief comment. Great to see you, Ms. Rice. Nikki, I don't know if you remember, you gave my program participants a tour about 2 years ago, and it was really just an honor, not just with the Butterfly Garden, but other projects you were working on at the time. So thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your steadfast leadership and commitment and all those that are involved to honor Tamir.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to designate Tamir Rice Butterfly Memorial as a Cleveland landmark.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll?
Anthony.
Yes.
Curry.
Yes.
McCray Scott.
Yes.
Hensley.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you for bringing this forward. Yay.
Can I have a quick miscellaneous on Cadell Park?
Sure.
Something that's just been bothering me, but is beyond this. If you're at the location of this memorial, there's a sidewalk that goes up to the building, but it doesn't go all the way up to Detroit. Like there's a map, like you have to go up a hill and there's like a dirt path, like the city needs, and that's where the bus stop is. The city needs to finish the sidewalk all the way up to
How
the
far,
street.
how much is the gap?
20 feet,
That's it?
but it's kind of like up a, like, cause Detroit starts to go up to go over the bridge, but like that's where if
Is it just
there's,
ahead?
it just, yeah, the sidewalk just stops and like you're not there yet, but there's a lot of, there's where the rapid station is, where the bus stop is, there's a lot of apartments across the way and people are just kind of
fixing that
like
with
sliding down this little slope, so like we should give them a sidewalk.
We're fixing that with the new Marion Seltzer School.
Yeah,
as well.
Okay, are we?
Councilman,
Okay,
Councilman
good.
Slife, so,
Every time I drive by it, I'm like, I'm gonna email someone when I get into work and then my goldfish brain forgets about it, yeah.
Ms. Rice and I are both on the steering committee that the city has put together for the redesign of Cadell Park. And the same landscape architect that designed the memorial is also involved in the park redesign.
Oh, yeah.
So
Okay.
we're very excited about what's going to be happening at Cadell Park in the
stuff.
future.
Cool.
They're bringing some of their New Orleans vibe up here, so I'm very excited to see what the park is gonna look like when it's
Yeah,
done.
it's gonna look good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for entertaining me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Right, the next item is page 11. This is a mandatory referral. I assume there's Rick. 10952025. This is in declaring the intent to vacate a portion of Packard Court.
Morning, everybody. Rick Swatowski, Manager of the Engineering Construction Division. Today we're going to talk about, oh, I got the clicker. I'm armed and dangerous here. Oh,
Apparently you're not.
The right button.
the right button. See, never give something to an amateur. Okay. This is intent to vacate a portion of Packard Court. Michael English and his wife Stephanie, the owner of 1374 East 25th Street, are requesting a portion of Packard Court be vacated for the redevelopment project at 1374 East 25th Street. You can see Packard Court there, that little rectangle kind of square property, that's where this historic property is located. And those two green parcels come into play also with this vacation. Here's the historic property that's going to be refurbished. There's an apartment that can take care of 4 families that they want Packard vacated so they can have control entry and egress over there. And then what they want to do is then work with land banks to acquire those 2 long green parcels I showed you and put in 3 of these step houses. There's the layout, which quite frankly can't quite understand how it sits with that layout. And we try to get some clarification, but have yet to done so, but that's the concept.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Did we see these houses?
I'll go back.
Because there are too few units.
Oh, did we?
We're still
No.
working with land banks to get the properties.
Is this one unit?
That's what I was asking.
So confused. I've never seen quite
We-
this looks like 2 units. So one front, one back, if I'm reading it correctly. Garage on the front, but there's a second unit on the
The
back,
garage fronts on Packard Court.
right? And then there's another unit facing the other side that's like a 2-bedroom. No, there's a 3-bedroom and a 3-bedroom.
It gets confusing when you try to count the bedrooms and figure
No,
out.
there's a 4-bedroom and a 4-bed. I've never seen this.
Yeah, we've asked to get some clarification, but we didn't get it in time for this piece of legislation.
And how big are the rooms? The 4-bedroom?
Wait, yeah, go back to the vacation again.
Sure.
Like, court is so narrow.
Packard Court.
About
Those
East
are,
25th and
right,
St.
those
Clair.
are the 2 lots, right?
Right, the green ones are where they'll be building those 3 step homes.
St. Clair and 25th, so this is downtown. They're rental, right? Yeah. Why wouldn't we see these?
It would be under
5
5 units.
Can we have like over 5 bedrooms? I'm just kidding.
I guess we'll have-
It's like there's like 20 bedrooms, but somehow we don't.
Yeah,
see it.
we'll have to,
Back.
the houses would definitely be seen by staff regardless of that situation. I mean, if they want to put some houses in the land bank land, we would be definitely supportive of that, but I think we need to work on the layout and the design. And we have not
It
seen
makes me wonder though, this is rental, right? Go back to the site plan, I mean, the floor plan.
One, two, three.
So these all have bathrooms. So these are clearly going to be rented per bedroom. They all have suites. So this is like a group home or an Airbnb,
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
It's like, this is modeled so that you could rent or buy the room.
Like a rooming house.
It's a rooming.
a room in a house.
Have we seen this? This is concerning.
We haven't seen the houses. They have never submitted designs to us for that.
Are you allowed to do a rooming house with under the zoning?
The zoning of the property, what is it zoned? I can
Probably
look it up, but
might be semi-industry over there.
yeah.
We have the consent of Councilmember House Jones, and it was by the Michael and Stephanie English.
Packard what? Sorry, I got it.
And they're the owners of the brick
Historical-
building.
Historical building
Yeah.
that they're renovating, and they want to work with land banks to get those two properties for this purpose.
Okay, well, and are there two of them because they own both lots, or two side by side, or one
Caption above says they have 3 side-by-sides that they want to put
of
in.
this model?
The zoning is semi-industry and they're not within 200 feet, so they'd be permitted as a rooming house, but they may hit, because of the size of the lots, they're likely going to need some setback variances from the Board of Zoning Appeals.
There's no additional review. I mean, we can.
No, we would.
You would review it.
Yeah, we would.
It would be design review because it's a rooming house,
As
so it's more than units.
I think that vacation can go forward, but I think we have to say that we don't necessarily understand this, so we aren't
Yeah.
approving the typology or the design or anything. But the vacation, they own both sides, right? So
Yeah. What is the purpose of the vacation?
to access to the garage.
It's actually, as stated, let me get back on my clicker here. This is a building they're renovating. It's a 4-unit apartment. And Packard's on the back side where they want to make that ingress egress private because there's a lot of issues going on back there. So that's what they want it primarily for. But then the secondary reason, as we're reading this, was to obtain those 2 parcels from land banks and to work on these 3-step houses.
They're not houses. No, it's a rooming house.
Could we table this till we get more
Yeah.
information? And then have the maybe applicant come
We did
in?
make a request for
Okay.
additional, because we couldn't figure this out.
Okay,
So we did ask for it and haven't received.
okay. I think we should
Yeah,
table
we'll be
this.
happy to.
Okay.
Postpone.
Yes, I,
Postpone.
Yeah.
yes, postpone.
That requires a motion.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to postpone, number 1095-2025.
Second. Motion and a second, call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
Gray Scott,
Yes.
Hensley.
Yes.
Motion carries. And the last one is 10962025, declaring the intent to vacate a portion of East 81st Street.
Thank you. Cleveland Gear Company and Dynacure Pre-Coated Steel, which is a commonly owned company of Industrial Manufacturing Company, LLC, is requesting a portion of East 81st Street to be vacated to make way for a building addition. A little misleading when you look at for the vacated portions, that's actually the very end of the street. So it's a little misleading when you first look at it, but you can see better here. That's the portion that they're wishing to vacate. The expansion will be to the left of the existing building, and then their new ingress egress will be off to the side. They'll clear all that out, move the utilities, and that'll become their driveway, as you see in this drawing. You can see their new addition. It says addition in red, and then all that area that then the driveway that then ties into the vacated East 81st Street. And it's got the consent star. Pardon? This is off Brebo Avenue, yes.
We have a motion, question?
I will move approval.
Second. Motion and a second, call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
Gray Scott,
Yes.
and Slight.
Yes.
Motion carries. Great, we have 5 administrative approvals. Take a quick look down them. They look pretty straightforward. Thank you. We'll see you back again. Soon.
Madam Chair, I move for approval of the administrative approvals as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second, call the roll.
Moving too fast, sorry.
Anthony,
Yes.
Curry.
Yes.
McCray Scott.
Yes.
And Slight.
Yes.
Motion carries. All right, we have one presentation for just information only on billboards, and then a director's report from Adam, and then we'll be adjourned.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see this.
There's a couple, so this is, I wanted to do this because there's a couple cases coming up for billboards, both downtown and in some neighborhoods. I thought it'd be great if Shannon could go over some of the rules and regs around it and talk about kind of how we are navigating this moving forward. So it's tricky. Billboards are interesting.
Good morning, good afternoon. Is it good morning still? Yes. Still morning.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right. So we're gonna walk through this and I just want to kind of give a clarification that our sign code is really in a lot of ways out of date. In terms of the digital technologies that have come forward across the board, outside the scope of even just billboard regulations. It's the sign code can be very restrictive in a lot of ways, but in a lot of ways it offers the ability for you all and Landmarks Commission to vary the code to get like really more creative signage. That was really the purpose of that that section, which is actually kind of unique for the city of Cleveland, generally across jurisdictions. But it also is very helpful to really encourage that. But a lot of times it gets used for like a 2 square foot variance here or there or however. So just really quickly, I'm not going to bore you with like going really in the weeds of this. I just kind of highlighting how this comes to you. But we do have about 4 permit applications in to modernize billboard structures and things of that nature. And so the purpose of this is really just to give you a high level overview of these regulations, kind of address some of the evolving technology and its role in placemaking, and then kind of just encourage a conversation among you all because this is coming from all directions. And so currently, whenever we think about off-premise signage, no matter what it is in the city, whether it's sponsored signage, whether it's any type of off-premise signage, the only definition we have in our current sign code is a billboard. And when you think of a billboard, you're generally thinking of these large ones that are 672 square foot, or even the smaller ones that you see here on the corner, 220 to 180 square feet. But a billboard is a sign directing attention to a specific business, product, service, entertainment activity, or other commercial activity that's sold, offered, or conducted elsewhere than upon the lot upon which it is sitting. You said what? Sitting, sorry, which is located. The other item that you don't see very often, and this is because it's very deceptive in the code, it's called a wall mural. But a wall mural is not what you think of as a wall mural or as public art mural. In this case, it was a regulation that was added to allow for really commercial off-premise advertising downtown. But the caveat is that there can only be 6 permits at any given time. So even if there was a variance offered for this or anything, the key here is looking at finding unsightly walls downtown, and saying, hey, put this large display here, and it gives you this definition of high resolution static or electronic graphic or photographic images, and it goes on and talks about art. But at the end of the day, it really says that the city has no way to really ask questions. It's just 80% of an unsightly wall. Can't talk about the content or things like that. But the thing is that you can only have 6 of them throughout the city at any given time. So even if there was a variance saying you could put this wall mural up, at the end of the day, this building and housing department can't give out any more than 6, and those 6 are already taken. And they hold on to that as long as they so choose. So like when 601 Huron came down, somebody moved right in on the waiting list from West 3rd and was able to go in. And so.
Pardon me, Shannon.
So yes.
One question at the end. Or
it's up to you guys.
Just real quick on the number, I guess. Is there like a calculation for like the size of the city that
no.
determine?
It's just really it was a compromise written between the law department and the billboard companies, but it's not considered a billboard, it's a wall mural. It really depends on how the application comes in. So we'll set that aside, and those are only in the central business district, by the way, the wall mural application. But the billboard regulations, these are generally first permitted in general industry or unrestricted industry, or if you're in a semi-industry district, if you're pointed towards a freeway. They're not permitted in landmarks or design review districts. They're permitted as freestanding or wall signs. They can't be greater than 820 square feet. They need to be at least 50 feet above a roadway, or no higher than the height district upon which they are in. And then their spacing and distance requirements from residential districts, from each other, from freeway on and off ramps, things of that nature. And then you are required to review it. So City Planning Department reviews it based on this map. We maintain a map of all of the new billboards across the city of Cleveland, or all the existing billboards across the city of Cleveland. And we look at those things such as location, setback regulations, and spacing. If all of those are fulfilled for a new billboard, then they meet those items. But then if it's non-conforming, it will come before this commission. And so the legal non-conforming billboards may be replaced or reconstructed to an extent greater than otherwise permitted if you all determine that such replacement or reconstruction will satisfy these 5 conditions. These 5 conditions require site and design improvements. So do we have an ornamental base, streamlined support structure, and then there's specific landscaping requirements for the base of the structure. The degree of nonconformity cannot be greater in size, height, number of panels unless you also choose. The new or reconstructed shall be in the exact same location unless you determine that there's a better alternate location on that exact precise GPS coordinate of that parcel. And then the next section is that it needs to be the same structure. So if they came in with a non-conforming pole structure, then it needs to be a pole structure unless you all determine otherwise. And then it can be changeable copy so long as that they are only changing one panel, so a single panel, billboard panel, or they could do 2 back-to-back billboard panels as digital only if each such panel replaces 2 or more billboard panels on a single parcel, or 2 or more billboard panels on adjacent properties. And so. Yep. Great. That's where I'm going with this conversation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our opinion?
Yep.
And then get there at the end.
Yep.
That's what we're doing today.
Yep, that's what we're doing.
Okay.
That's exactly where we are with the robust conversation.
One more question.
Yep.
Eric, that's because I think it's a really interesting what she's asking. And I'm not asking you for the exact numbers, but if you go back to the map that shows where you guys have mapped.
Yep.
Just for me, and you can just say you don't know exactly what you think. If you were to zoom out and show Cuyahoga County, not just the city of Cleveland, would there be a bigger density in the city of Cleveland, or would it look this? Would we see that along the highways? And there's actually more in Cuyahoga County than we think. Like, and are they adding more? Like, what's going on in the county?
I can answer that with numbers if you want, but so this map that you see right here is, so Lamar holds the biggest share in the city. It's 672 Lamar billboards across the city of Cleveland. There's about 10 from Cleveland Outdoor that just went bankrupt, so that's another reason why you're seeing some of these come through. And then you also have Outfront that holds a certain share, but not very many. And then just a few mom and pop type billboard establishments. But in the county, what you're gonna see is that they're mostly on the freeway. You don't see them as densely within the interior of the city as you see in Akron, even Lorraine, or even Cleveland proper. To kind of quantity wise, it's gonna look more spread out just because it's not as densely populated in terms of people, and they really base the. Yep.
Now, this question is so interesting. If you were to show this map of Columbus or Cincinnati, would it look?
It would probably be similar, more into the urban core, you'll see more.
Far? Yeah.
I could find out, we could map it.
Do you know?
No, but generally speaking, across urban areas, you're gonna see more dense placement, and then you're also going to unfortunately see more within the interior of neighborhoods in terms of those poster size billboards that are on these unsightly structures across the board. But yeah, I think they base their location based on travel. So how many viewpoint impressions are happening at that given spot where they're locating them.
But also since they're so hard to get, they've already been here, so.
Yeah.
The acquisition by Lamar or them is because they're so hard to get new locations.
Yeah.
They're grandfathered here, and so that's really what's going on.
Yeah.
Because the suburbs aren't gonna have new billboards in residential streets or.
Right.
And there are real freeway, guidelines about how close they can be together and ODOT, how to control.
That's correct.
Freeway or ODOT, so it's not like there's gonna be a gigantic increase across the United States of places for new billboard.
That's right.
Yeah, we've done a good job of zoning these out of, like, really pigeonholing them into any new location. Like it's really, really tough. But I think I mean, this is a really good photo of like one of the neighborhood ones that's like right next to a property. It's right next to somebody's yard. Like, I think.
This is the city of Cleveland. This is East 104th and Harvard.
Yeah. There's some along like other kind of streets like Denison or Ridge that are more heavily traveled, but they're right next to properties too. And I think we should discuss how solving that would be. Yeah.
I think the biggest issue, so our non-conforming clause says that if more than 50% of a structure is removed, the status for these permits go away. And so the permit holders hold on to these billboard permits very securely. And so they don't have, there's no way for them to essentially upgrade their structures without going through the non-conforming section where they come before this committee. And so the question becomes, if we are looking to allowing these billboards to modernize, if you will, or to fix their structures that are looking really rough across the city, especially in places that make sense. Is this commission, is the planning department, is the administration open to digitizing billboards? And if so, what are the types of things that design review should be requiring of that based on these regulations? The other thing to think about is this is just an example of like billboards in other places, some here locally, but also billboards across the board. But in the lower left corner, you can see that's a junior billboard that's often found in between our neighborhoods. And the idea of trying to bring these billboards out of the neighborhoods into places that make more sense, entertainment centers, things of that nature. The other thing to think about is working with billboard companies where one of the communities outside of Cleveland was able to work out some kind of deal where it provided an eco billboard where you're getting solar panel or internet connections in neighborhoods that don't have internet. So things like that. They're also digital. What you see at the top corner on the previous parking garage is what a wall mural, one of the wall murals in downtown Cleveland. The other thing to think about that our sign code doesn't really regulate, but how does signage contribute to place? And so whatever it takes was back during the 2016 run with NBA. And so, you know, the projected signage, things of that nature on buildings. A town hall does this a lot, but there's a couple other places. And then the sponsored wall art that you see in the top left corner, which is a Sherwin-Williams sign. But it's, you know, kind of artist. And then in the top right corner, you see the Plaza Hotel, but that's actually not the facade of the Plaza Hotel. That is a vinyl wrap that is wrapping the building during construction. And so, you know, and then actually on the lower left corner, this was a sign approved by this commission many years ago when I first started. They were doing some kind of construction within the Erie building there, the old National building. And they wanted to obscure that, but at the same time, they wanted to let people know that they had, you know, Class A office space for sale. And then other ways that these large digital signs are being used for are to really create plazas and things of that nature. That's nothing that you see here, but here locally, but there are places across the United States and other countries that are maximizing this off-premise type signage in a way that can help really stimulate place in terms of creating entertainment and vibrancy and things like that. And where we think, you know, billboards really belong is more in these vibrant and trying to get them out of our neighborhoods. So prior to the billboard that moved off West 25th Street and got placed in other locations throughout the city, the only other billboard that's been brand new, that's been approved by this commission is one that was out by Tiedemann and the Plain Dealer. And it was like a mom and pop local old radio show host that partnered with somebody to build a new electronic digital billboard.
Yeah.
So with that being said, we're really just kind of thinking about, you know, how the city feels about billboards and signage and the different opportunities that are available there, or to really modernize them.
Especially if they're coming to this commission to ask for a variance from that code too. Like what could be the compromise on either giving up some of those neighborhood locations to digitize like more of a downtown presence billboard, get them out of the neighborhoods, or like what can we fix within that context too?
Councilman seems to have a lot to say.
I know that there's the First Amendment. However, I think we've seen news stories about that jerk with the I buy houses and like kind of a veiled use of the derogatory language. I'm wondering if I know that we do not have the legal authority to limit speech. However, if we are seeking to create a more broad program that would be beneficial to an organization like Lamar, I'm wondering if there's negotiating power for the city to ask them to kind of provide standards of language and things like that that we would think would be beneficial if we are going to go through the process to give them something that I think would be very financially advantageous for them, a digital billboard. I don't know where the line is, but it's very frustrating to residents when they see explicit or implicit language that we don't have a lot of control over. So I'm wondering if there's some way that there's some path towards a better resolution as we are trying to understand what kind of variances we would be giving to the billboard companies and where is it on them to kind of control speech because they could.
I would say also, in addition to that, I do think that maybe we should have a position and that staff should do a little bit more work to say, and this is my opinion, which is I do not believe we should have digital billboards in neighborhoods.
I agree.
Like, and I think we can clearly state that. And if we believe that to be true, then that would be harmful for residents to have digital billboards where people are living all, kind
Yeah.
of running all the time, then the question is, you know, can you as staff identify the major thoroughfares proactively where it's appropriate first before we decide what's the policy around either incenting both doing that and what the councilman is saying, or um you know because historically I've seen over my long tenure here a sense of it's sort of a carrot approach, right? You take down two in a neighborhood and you get something in return.
Yeah.
That's one strategy, but another strategy might be another policy. It's a real policy decision, might be where do we actually want digital billboards? Because we believe that they're actually a healthy part of vibrancy in a city. And then and start there before we start with a policy that says you can get that if you take down two, because then we'll know what we're, how many existing sites do we believe they're because then you can go with a very different approach, carrot approach to how you get there, or even a kind of requirements around what it, under what circumstances you would allow that. But I think we should start from a position of we are absolutely don't want digital billboards in neighborhoods. And we're going to clearly define where they only belong and why, and start there first before we start making any public policy decisions.
I would agree. And also in designing the digital billboards, I think they need to be very careful about flashing lights, particularly with people who drive and may have epilepsy or seizures that could bring that on. Because I've seen some that are main thoroughfares and they do have the flashing lights. And I know people don't think about that, but you do have people that have seizures and that could bring on a seizure.
Yeah,
I'm not a medical doctor, but that's of concern, really.
I agree. Yeah, and the rules state here that, each message must remain fixed for at least 8 seconds. And then there's some illumination requirements mixed in the sign code as is. But, the rule is that, if you have these things, but really the key would be to make sure that they are, meeting those conditions. But the other question I have is, as it pertains to these structures, being so rickety and outdated and things like that, is there an appetite for adding that, you can't, that you don't automatically get to, basically incentivizing these companies to like maintain and upgrade their structure, but that they wouldn't necessarily lose their permit? Because that's really what we're seeing here, is that like these structures are getting more and more older and more like, look terrible, really. But they won't do anything about them because they lose their permit once they take that structure down. So it's like, or is it just kind of a dog eats dog, well, it gets rickety, we'll cite you for a nuisance, and then it comes down and we don't have to worry about, kind of thing.
Well, I mean, I think that's for me, the question is eventually, kind of, I'll call them manual billboards.
Yep, that's what they're,
Obsolete.
Yep.
Well, most of it.
well, they don't build those big, print out those types of posters anymore.
They're terribly inefficient, kind of a different kind of,
Sales.
business models that won't
Yeah.
make that viable, less kind of digital billboards, kind of less staff, so the question isn't, I think you want to be careful about what you just said, because if that's an option, then it becomes financially viable to actually get rid of them. So I think I'm a fan of treating these things separately.
Yep.
No digital billboards in neighborhoods. There's a different strategy around the manual ones, or if you call them. And then where do we want them and why? And then how do we go about having a policy about that?
Yeah.
Because otherwise we do run the risk of actually creating a couple more generations of these things deteriorating.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Hmm.
Or them just hanging on.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would start with the map.
Okay, we can do that.
And I would overlay the map over your existing billboard map, like that like that map. Like I would want to see probably either ward by ward or neighborhood by neighborhood, a zoom in that shows where these are. And then where are the major areas where we feel digital billboards make sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll have a better, clearer picture of how to approach it.
Yeah, we could delineate like what kind of thoroughfare those are on, like if it's more of a residential street or if it's a high traffic street or
arterials,
like we could-
Commercial corridor,
Yeah.
where there's some viability that
Exactly.
might help this.
Yeah.
Right, that
Mhm.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
As opposed to, and then there's also some additional negotiations. Let's say that there's a high traffic street where it makes sense. We're really trying to make it a vibrant commercial corridor. And then certain percentage of it has to actually be local advertising for
Right.
businesses, is that they're sort of like, I'll call it in community advertising, as opposed to just off premise. I've created a slogan.
Yeah. And
And then you can legislate that 30% or 40% of all the advertising on the digital along, let's say, St. Clair Avenue or whatever avenue it is, has to have a rate for local businesses.
Yeah, I'd kind of add to that another, I think it's obvious if you look at it, but something kind of layer on and figure out where we are oversaturated with billboards. We're 20% of the way across the map towards the bottom, there's a diagonal cluster. That's Bel Air, which is that part of West Park is a historically Black neighborhood. Like the clustering of these hyper concentrations like Lee Road, like it's very obvious that these are just slapped up in Black neighborhoods. Without regard for how many there are. And I think that we need to figure out, like, if we are going to allow digital billboards or any of we need to figure out also where we decluster and not be contributing to it unknowing or unwittingly, right? So like that just really stands out to me as a very obvious example of how we got to this point.
And I'll also point out they're prohibited along the Jennings Freeway because it was considered a parkway. So it's only on one side of the road that's permitted to have one. The rest it's prohibited along there. And there's a couple other corridors where it's prohibited, where I think you can kind of see.
What this map also shows me is that the city must have had policy around Martin Luther King Drive and
Yep.
University Circle. There's not a single billboard in University Circle.
That's correct.
Like, wow.
There's certain,
What is the city?
I'm not sure exactly, but there are certain roads in the city that were prohibited in the actual billboard ordinance on 350.10. So you're
I wouldn't want to see a billboard in the cultural gardens.
Nope.
For sure.
Well, it can't be in public, so they're prohibited in public lands, and you're also seeing that around the rules in terms of they've never generally supposed to been permitted in design review and landmarks districts, and things, and they're only permitted in unrestricted and general industry by right, semi-industry if you're pointed towards a freeway. Obviously, there's been variances given over time, or a lot of the billboards got put in place before this legislation was placed in the code or amended within the code to address these neighborhood issues. Like I know there's one site that's in I think your ward that has 3 billboards on right in front of a residential neighborhood street, all on 1 or 2 parcels. So I think so, off of near Bel Air maybe. So, but you'll see that time and the picture that I was showing is the 2 panels on 1 parcel. Or what you'll see is, as in another picture, here, it's forward, but where there
on the back.
some,
yeah,
they're just missing only half the structure. It has a billboard on it, so then there it is. So you see this a lot around town. And so, you know, there should be some like prohibitions against that too, but. Yeah, so that I really want to encourage conversations.
Think
Yeah,
so.
just trying to encourage conversation.
See if they're coming, are they downtown or are they neighborhood, where are they?
A lot of them are, I think most of them are downtown, but there is one that draws a line between downtown and not, because when you're a freeway or going on a major corridor that's rising above the street. So you have a neighborhood below you and like a thoroughfare above you.
Yeah.
So that'll be, you know, I think, and the way that they're trying to get around this is with just the one panel. And digitizing the one panel, but you'll have to look at the other conditions to see if they meet those conditions in terms of the landscaping and things like
And
that.
when you're doing your research, is there a city that is like the gold standard? Which
The state of Maine. That outlaws it all.
who's innovating or who's trying to struggle with the times we're living in?
Yeah.
Put something forward. Can we just learn from some? Can we do a trip? You guys want to go to the?
Well, you can go to the Sign Museum in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
You know, but no. But that's just signs generally, but it's really hard because some cities are all the way to where they completely prohibit them. And others that are somewhere in between or similar to Cleveland. If you're an older city, you tend to have the same kind of problem where they existed and then now you're coming in and legislating. I will look to see if there's any best examples.
Legislation. Be nice.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and just to see, we'll work on that. I'll work with my staff to find, you know, if there's anybody that's, you know, being able to balance it. I know that in terms of like the modern technology, the last I had really dug into this was pre-COVID was like Atlanta and a couple other cities that had dealt with some of the more digital displays, but they didn't want to look like Vegas or anything like that in terms of legislation, but billboards are a little bit different.
It'd be better to have a stated point of view that we somehow vote on.
Okay.
Before these come, like at a minimum, there might be 2 or 3 things like no digital billboards in neighborhoods. Like, how do you codify that?
Yep.
Okay.
Like, what are the couple of overarching things that you bring back, you know, in a few weeks?
Yep, it would have to be.
How do we go ahead and be proactive about that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just a kind of overarching policy so we can treat each of them the same way.
Cool.
All right, perfect. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Anything else from your?
No, not on billboards. I think it's something that, but on the fire conversation, I think we should maybe look to do some of the same thing. We have some things to really figure out, I think, with a balance of like what engineering, construction, and some other departments really want from safety and access, and in relation to like how we get to a more dense urban environment. That this isn't the only city that we're, you know, is dealing with these issues, or is it like, you know, how do we be creative on buying different sized fire trucks or on, you know, different scales of how to fight these problems, both literally and I think like site plan wise too. So, and then the only other thing I want to mention too is, I think Callie sent an email while we were in session here, but there is a small fund going around for, I think, a tree at, for Commission Member Fluker's father. There's a card circulating too, if you haven't signed it. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Have like a proclamation, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was interesting information about your father. There's information.
I think he went to Max Hayes. He was in the automotive industry for a while. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's so nice.
Great,
Thank you.
meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Is it helpful at all?
Yeah. I wrote down a lot.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.